The Surface Laptop 7 is one of my favourite laptops for light use. Guys, I bought one for myself, which I must say is a pretty rare thing. I just love how premium it feels and how compact and portable it is. I love its comfortable keyboard, its accurate haptic trackpad and its display. It is fantastic. But there are three big issues that I have with it. Several applications and games that I play, they just won't run on its Snapdragon processor. Its battery life sucks and it gets annoyingly warm when plugged in. Well, with me is Microsoft's new Intel Lunar Lake version, and guess what? It solves two of these issues and improves on the third. But what frustrates me though is that Microsoft, they're only selling it via their business site, and they're charging $300 more for it. Yes, retail customers can buy it, but they may not be aware it even exists. Clearly they know that businesses need broad application compatibility, and they know that Qualcomm laptops don't give that to you. That's why they had to come out with this Intel version. So why are they trying to push these crappier Qualcomm laptops onto you? With that said, Sierra is going to first walk you through some benchmarks to show you how this laptop performs. As these are definitely not designed for performance tasks, I'll be back on after that to talk about my own real-world experience of using both of these laptops, so definitely wait for that before making up your mind.
Thanks, Josh. The new model we have is the higher-end Surface Laptop 713 with the Ultra 7 266V, 16 gigs of memory and 512 gigs of storage. I'll be comparing it to our Snapdragon X Plus and X Elite versions, as well as the larger 15-inch Surface. I'll also include results from Andrew Mark David, who owns the lower-end Ultra 5 variant, as well as a bunch of other laptops in this price range, like the MacBook Pro 14 with M4. That one is actually cheaper than this new Surface. Crazy. In Geekbench, which tests a variety of common performance tasks, you can see that the Ultra 5 and 7 models perform pretty similar. This is to be expected. These CPUs have the same number and type of cores, but the Ultra 5 has a slightly slower max gigahertz. Now, compared with the Snapdragon variants, those are noticeably faster, with the exception of the X Plus and single core. The specific X Plus 64100 chip that Microsoft have included has no turbo boost, so that's why. Now, if you are comparing these laptops to an AMD Ryzen 9 or M4 chip, none of these are as fast. Taking a look at Cinebench, which tests the laptop when under a max CPU load, we can see a similar story. Not much of a difference between the Ultra 5 and Ultra 7 variants. The Ultra 7 model continues to be the fastest in single core. In overall multi-core performance, though, they now significantly trail the Qualcomm variants. But, once again, none of these come close to the performance of Apple's M4 chip or the multi-core performance of an AMD Zen 5 chip. Let's double-click in and look at power draw. You can see that the higher-end Intel version draws less power than the higher-end Qualcomm. In fact, over the life of this 10-minute torture test, it actually drew less power on average than the lower-end X Plus variant. This looks really good until you remember how much worse the Intel laptops actually perform. Taking a look at heat you feel when under max load, all our Surface laptops do really bad. They all get extremely hot on the keyboard deck. This graph in particular really shows how bad these Surface laptops are for performance tasks. Both our HP OmniBook Ultra and MacBook Pro perform better as I showed you, and they feel a lot cooler to the touch while doing so. In fact, our MacBook Pro is sitting there laughing, cool as a cucumber. Both of these are of course larger laptops, which is what you should be buying if you want to do intensive tasks. Taking a look at fan noise during max load, it's not bad. Microsoft always keeps their fan noise pretty minimal. That's probably one of the reasons these laptops get so hot when under load. You can see here the OmniBook and Mac do get louder. When it comes to GPU performance, I'm going to start with Wildlife, which is a cross-platform Vulkan test. You can see that the Intel Arc integrated graphics is faster than Qualcomm's. Please note, if you are thinking of getting the Ultra 5 version, it uses the Arc 130V graphics. That runs at a slower max speed and has one less graphics core. So it will likely perform a good amount slower. When we look at TimeSpy, which is a DirectX 12 gaming benchmark, you are going to see Intel thrash Qualcomm. We believe this is because this benchmark doesn't run natively on this hardware. You may think this test is unfair, but we don't think so. It highlights the issue of buying a Qualcomm laptop. Things don't work or don't work well, particularly games. In fact, TimeSpy actually no longer runs on Qualcomm laptops. Those results I just showed you were before they made the benchmark incompatible with these laptops. We would assume Qualcomm got wind of TimeSpy showing poor results and asked them to disable it.
Okay, so Sierra has shown you that the Surface laptops, they aren't great for CPU performance tasks, but the new Intel model can handle light gaming, which the Qualcomm models really can't. Anyway, how does it perform in light use? Well, luckily you have an owner right here. When it comes to business management tasks like using Microsoft Office, web browsing and collaboration apps, here's what I've noticed when switching to the new Intel model. Firstly, it is definitely snappy enough for real-world use. In fact, I found it felt snappier than my X Plus version. That's the version I ended up buying, by the way. I found the X Elite just wasn't worth it. You shouldn't be running performance tasks on these laptops anyway, as she showed you, and it just costs more and drains the battery faster. I do have a video out, which I'll link below, on the X Plus versus X Elite. Why I'm even mentioning this is the X Elite version may feel snappier in light use. Anyway, back on the Intel model. The next thing that I noticed is that it felt very cool to the touch. My Snapdragon-powered Surface gets really warm when plugged in. This never happens with this new Intel version. Lastly, all applications work. App compatibility is one of the main reasons I don't use my Surface laptop that much anymore. For example, I play League of Legends. It doesn't even boot on my Surface laptop with Snapdragon. On the Intel version, it runs great. Let's now talk battery life. All versions of the Surface Laptop 7 were able to sustain their full performance while unplugged. To give you an indication of how long this laptop lasts, while running performance tasks on battery, we ran Cinebench on a loop for 30 minutes. All Surface laptops drained a similar amount of their battery. The big winner in this test was the ZenBook S14 with its much larger battery, and Apple's MacBook Pro 14 of course, which also happens to perform significantly better. Honestly, Qualcomm, Intel, AMD, they should be really embarrassed at this point. Apple's power efficiency is just so much better. To test a more realistic use case, we played a Netflix movie on repeat over Wi-Fi for 4 hours, all screens dimmed to 200 nits and running at 60 Hz. Here we see that the Intel Surface laptop just really shines. It only drained 27% of its battery. This is impressive given its small battery, and it is a lot better than our Qualcomm variants. If you're wondering why the Yoga Slim 9i does so poorly here with its larger battery, it's probably due to its super high resolution 4K display. Finally, we did a full video rundown. This is our simplest battery test, just playing a movie on repeat from the laptop itself. Another incredible result for the Intel Surface, almost 20 hours. When you once again consider this laptop's small battery size, this is truly fantastic. By the way, if you don't see the X Elite version of the Surface here, we started including this test after we returned those laptops. I think we can safely assume the 13-inch with the X Elite chip would have lasted less than the X Plus variant that we have. On that note, I really wish we had the Intel Ultra 5 version of the Surface. I think it would have lasted even longer. Since I really do use these Surfaces in the real world, using just Microsoft Office to write the scripts for this video and some others at the display's full brightness, I do run at full brightness, I barely get 5 hours for the X Plus variant. On this new Intel version, the Ultra 7 version, I get over 6 hours. Before I conclude, a couple of closing thoughts. As the Intel version is sold to businesses, if you're buying just one of them, it's unlikely to go on sale. Businesses, they bulk buy and they get discounts that way. The Qualcomm Surfaces are sold in retail stores, and they pretty much are always on sale. So when you factor that in, the Qualcomm Surfaces are significantly cheaper. Now, I was also surprised that the Intel variant only came with a 1-year warranty, given its increased cost and that it is aimed at business buyers. Finally, the business version, it also removes the option for the fun colors. You only get a choice of grey and dark grey. Obviously, business people, they aren't humans and they don't like fun, which is clearly nonsense. I've owned the blue, light grey and dark models. That's how I'd order them in terms of their looks. Alright, let's wrap. The Intel variant of this laptop, it is much better. In fact, I think it's one of the absolute best laptops you can buy right now for light use. When it comes to the Qualcomm versions, they do perform better in performance tasks, but you should not be buying a Surface laptop for that. There are much better options available like HP's OmniBook Ultra or the MacBook Pro. And secondly, people who run performance tasks, they tend to rely on specialist applications. These are the ones that are most at risk of just not running well on Qualcomm's hardware. So here's my recommendation. If you can afford the Intel variant, clearly get that. I'd probably choose the Core Ultra 5 version if I was to do it all again. It's significantly cheaper, its CPU performance is pretty close, and I believe its battery life will be better. Just be aware its GPU performance, it's a lot worse. When it comes to the Qualcomm variant, if you know for sure that you're only sticking to basic Office applications and web browsing, and you aren't gaming, I do think that the Snapdragon X Plus variant, it offers a ton of value. When it's on sale for around $900, it just gives you this all-round premium laptop which you don't normally see at this price point. If on the other hand you want the best of both worlds, an Intel laptop with a price of around say $1,000, I'll provide links down below to several great alternatives. Well, that's all I got for you. I think the only question that's probably on everyone's mind is, did someone at Qualcomm convince someone at Microsoft to prevent them from selling the better Intel version to you guys, the retail consumers? And how did they do that? With that said, if you want to support our mission of just calling it as it is, then click the like button and get subscribed. It's free and easy to do. And if you want to do a little more, our links to our Patreon page and our YouTube membership will be down below too. Till next time, go do something awesome with your day, and we will catch you later.